In the blazing heart of the African savanna, two tiny puppies trembled beneath the burning sun, their cries barely whispers in the wild. Surrounded by predators and fading fast, they made a desperate move toward a lioness. What happened next would shatter every rule of nature and move the world to tears. The African savanna stretched endlessly beneath a merciless sun. The ground was cracked and dry, the air heavy with silence broken only by distant roars. Amid the tall, golden grass, two tiny puppies stumbled forward, their paws raw, their bellies hollow. Their mother was gone, taken by the unforgiving wild. And now, they were alone. Each step grew weaker. The wind carried the scent of danger, vultures circling above, hyenas laughing somewhere far off. The puppies whimpered softly, pressing against each other for comfort. Their once bright eyes were now clouded with fear and exhaustion. Then, a low rumble rolled through the air, deep, powerful, commanding. The puppies froze. From beyond the grass, a shadow moved, sleek, silent, and deadly. A lioness. Her golden eyes locked onto the helpless pair, and for a heartbeat, the world seemed to stop. The lioness moved with the quiet grace of a shadow, her muscles rippling beneath her golden coat. Every step was measured, her eyes locked onto the tiny figures trembling before her. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. The puppies whimpered softly, pressing their bodies close together, too terrified to move. She circled them once, her massive paws leaving deep prints in the dust. Her tail flicked, her nostrils flared. The scent of fear filled the air. Instinct told her these small creatures were prey, weak, helpless, easy. She lowered her head, her hot breath washing over them. But something made her pause. Beneath the scent of fear, she sensed something else. Innocence, desperation, a plea for mercy. Her eyes softened, and for a moment, the hunter vanished. The savanna fell silent, waiting to see whether compassion or instinct would win. The lioness leaned closer, her golden eyes reflecting the trembling shapes before her. One puppy gave a tiny, broken cry, not of defiance, but of surrender. And in that fragile sound, something within her shifted. Instead of baring her teeth, she lowered her massive head and gently nudged the smallest one with her nose. The puppy whimpered, expecting pain, but felt warmth instead, the soft breath of a creature that should have been its end. The lioness lay down beside them, curling her powerful body around the tiny pair. Her heartbeat was steady, strong, protective. The wind swept across the plain, carrying a strange stillness. Predators hunt. Prey runs. That is nature's law. But on this day, nature hesitated. In the middle of the wild, under the unforgiving sun, a lioness chose compassion over instinct, and two lives were forever changed as dusk painted the horizon in shades of gold and crimson. The lioness gently gripped one of the puppies by the scruff of its neck. With surprising tenderness, she carried it through the tall grass, the second pup stumbling after her tiny steps. The vast savanna watched in silent awe as the queen of predators brought the weakest of creatures into her world. Her den lay hidden beneath a rocky ledge, where her own cubs waited. At first, they hissed and pawed curiously at the strange newcomers. But the lioness gave a low growl, not of anger, but of warning. These little ones were under her protection now. And that was final. Night fell. The lioness lay curled around all of them, her cubs and the puppies, her massive body a wall of warmth and safety. She licked their fur, fed them, guarded them fiercely. Days turned into weeks, and the puppies grew stronger. They followed her everywhere, stumbling over stones, tumbling in play with her cubs. When a rival lion approached, she stood between them and danger, her roar shaking the earth. She wasn't just a predator anymore. She was their mother. One morning, as the sun climbed above the hills, a group of nearby villagers set out to collect firewood. From a distance, they spotted movement near the ridge, a lioness striding gracefully across the plain. But something about the sight made them stop in disbelief. Trailing behind her were two small, wagging tails. Puppies. The men froze, whispering in shock. It can't be, one murmured. No dog survives near lions. Yet there they were, two tiny figures trotting happily beside the great lioness, as if she were their guardian. Curiosity overcame fear. The villagers followed quietly until they reached the edge of her den. What they saw left them speechless. The lioness resting peacefully, her cubs and the puppies snuggled against her side. Word spread like wildfire. A lioness had adopted dogs. And in a land ruled by survival, kindness had just rewritten the law of the wild. Days passed peacefully in the savannah, until one evening, the sky darkened with gathering clouds. A strange stillness swept over the land, the air heavy, the birds gone silent. Then came the storm. Thunder cracked open the heavens, and rain poured in furious sheets. The lioness rushed to her den, where her cubs and the puppies huddled together, trembling. But within minutes, water began to flood the hollow. The den was filling fast. With a fierce determination, she gripped her cubs one by one, carrying them to higher ground. Each trip grew harder as the storm raged, the wind tearing through the grass like knives. When she turned back for the puppies, a wall of water blocked her path. For a heartbeat, she hesitated, then roared and plunged into the torrent. Lightning split the sky as she fought her way through the flood. Her muscles strained, her breath ragged, but she reached them, lifting each tiny body in her jaws, dragging them to safety. Finally, drenched and exhausted, she collapsed beside her cubs and the rescued pups. The storm held on, but beneath her trembling body, all her children were safe. Weeks later, rescuers from a wildlife foundation arrived after hearing the unbelievable story of the lioness and her adopted puppies. They watched in awe as the mighty cat lay calmly, her head resting beside the pups she had once saved. But it was time for them to go. The rescuers gently lifted the puppies, their small tails wagging uncertainly. The lioness didn't move. She only watched, her golden eyes glistening in the fading light. As the truck drove away, she let out a low, mournful sound that echoed through the plains. A mother's final goodbye carried on the wind. Months passed, and the savannah returned to its rhythm, the roar of lions, the whisper of wind through grass. Yet somewhere in the distance, two grown dogs would often wander near the ridge, pausing to stare into the golden plains. Perhaps they remembered the warmth, the heartbeat, the love that once saved them. The lioness, too, would lift her head at night, listening to the faint echoes of familiar cries, because love, once given, never disappears. Sometimes, angels don't come with wings. Sometimes, they walk on four paws with golden fur. And the heart of a lioness,